why have we not had full closure? I mean, I know a number of things happen, but again, I'm talking about trust. All right? And look, these are the high-level ones. We have accidents in this country, 15 people die.
And more.
Yeah. And look, today we have a situation where it is this, and so we are all here talking up. But those 15 are human beings too.
Indeed.
In a proper functioning state, you would have an investigation and a report, and then Prof. Bampo and Bobande and myself and others will study them, and then we can have some national learning. Okay? Clearly, we are not having those problems. Do you know what the report about May 9th circle disaster?
June 3.
June 15.
Have you seen that report?
No.
What happened? What went wrong? Why were our systems not able to, do something? And you see, that lack of national reflection and learning gives problems. Okay? So, trust me, given our culture, in 3 months, this will be forgotten. Because, like I said, a sitting president fell in a ditch. We've forgotten about it. So, see,
we moved on like nothing else.
On the policy levels, we keep harping on the fact that we need to create situations where some of these things are properly documented, they are analyzed. It's not because somebody wants to witch hunt anybody. It is because it is necessary for nation building to learn the lessons. And then we know the things we can do to prevent some of these things happening in future. And if even they happen, we know how we're going to recover. Sorry to say it, but that's the thing with we academics. We sit in places where we can conjecture all kinds of things. But it's necessary for us to bring our learning to the public. Sorry to say this again. This will happen again. Because aviation is increasing in Ghana. And if it does, what are we going to do? I was making a point at another program here that, look, I do believe that in cases like this, the best unit to call immediately is not NADMO. It will be the jungle welfare people. The military has the training. I'm saying this as an ordinary person. And somebody sent me some information when I said, this somewhere, that, hey, please, don't, it's not like I think. But my point is, which unit in this country is better trained to access thick jungles, secure that space, and make sure a good enough investigation can be carried out? You have these professors online, our colleagues studying forensics and whatever. They will come with all their expertise. All right? How are they going to access that space? And please, let's get this right. When it comes to aircraft crash investigation specifically, but generally also crash investigations or mishap investigations, it is not about pilots per se. It's a multidisciplinary thing. You need to get, all kinds of people there, even to analyze the spread of the debris.
Multi-agency.
My question is, do we as a country learn these lessons and then prepare to do better in future? If we did that and something happened, and then the system that we know takes these things seriously comes and says that, look, it's going to take 2 years to do this, we will trust them. Because like I said, we are all here conjecturing, and I am trying not to go into the fact of what happened, because I say, let's wait for an investigation. But trust me, people don't trust that an investigation is going to do much. And already, sorry to say, you've had very high ups in government or close to government make quite irresponsible statements about what happened. How could you do that? All right. And somewhere down the line, we've heard and seen people talk about sabotage and something and this. We just start nebulizing. We just start saying all kinds of things. We should learn a certain lesson that some of these things, keep quiet, let the investigators do their work. But if people don't trust the investigators, and they say that, maybe if there was some political angle to it, already I've heard people talk about how the previous government neglected the army. People talk about, hey, could it be that somebody was trying to sabotage or kill the president because he was... That is mud. Already I've heard people talk about how the previous government neglected the army. People talk about, hey, could it be that somebody was trying to sabotage or kill the president because he was... That is muddled thinking. Okay, and we will not.
You tend to lean on immediate experiences and experiences before that to now be able to deduct and say that as a result of how we handled A, B, C, and D, there is a good indication that we can trust. Let me give a very quick example. In the work I've been doing up to last week and returning, the Electoral Commission of the country, in order to have trust with the 6 political parties who have representatives in parliament, they traveled together to Singapore and collectively to procure the biometric machines for the elections in that country. And so the whole idea was that trust will be built around a biometric system in which the parties were together with their electoral commission. They came back, and yet one of the conflicts or the disputes at the center of preparation for elections is because 5 of the 6 parties do not want the use of those electronic devices. But they were there in Singapore
when they were going to purchase it.
So this is an example of how trust building is not a surface issue that is visible and we can then say, can't you trust? It is coming from the experience, the deep feeling of how I want to be able to relate. And I think, Kofi, you are right. Because if we make comments and remarks, but we don't have the evidence to prove what we are saying, we destroy trust. Yes. And I think earlier on, when Prof was intervening and I was commenting on, all this is coming from our history of a polarized, deeply partisan politics. And we need to get out of that as part of the process of trust building. And I also would agree that, can we use this as a watershed? That the call for national unity is asking for a mindset change. And that mindset change basically says, it doesn't matter how I feel, I want to be tolerant enough and willing to listen to the other so that we can be able to work together. Right. And that is why I understood Prof very well in your earlier remarks when you say we talk too much, but we don't listen to one another. Because we are talking because we have something that we want to say, but we are not prepared to wait and listen to the other and understand where that person is coming from in order that I can be better informed. So tolerance is about the discipline. Yes, you can be opinionated, but hold your opinion and listen also to others. And that for me is all part of the mindset that can begin to build a trust. But the other comment to add on this, it's a two-way street. If I have been given a responsibility to manage an institution, and the way I go about the management of that institution is seen by other people to be satisfying a particular interest, and I refuse to abide by the rules of professionalism, and by virtue of the role of the state, some positions automatically require a certain impartial attitude that is professional and that mobilizes everybody and brings everybody to support, then people will not trust. And that is also part of our challenge. So that management systems, leadership, and unfortunately, we talk about leadership sometimes limited to political leadership. Yes. I'm looking at leadership across the board. Because if I look at Prof here, where he is a leader, on a day-to-day basis, it's not the presidency that comes to his area of jurisdiction to engage in management. It is him. So it's in our collective interest that who we arrive at choosing as leaders, not only at the political level, but in our various institutions, should be the people of requisite stability, confidence in themselves to be able to manage in such a way that everybody can feel attracted. Then the rest of it is easy. Because on issues where we have to choose, let us compete fairly. But where the competition, people feel that it is skewed deliberately to favor one side and not the other, it will take away trust. And that's why I would conclude by saying that trust building is also a process.
It's a process.
And integrated in that, when you talk about a tragedy, it needs also to take into account healing. And that is why, for me, the investigations are not just about uncovering what really happened, but it should also be the closure. The closure where people can be able to move on because they have now found out exactly what happened. But that can only be possible, as it has been stated, if the investigations are professionally done, they are transparent, they are able to carry everybody along, then it brings the closure for people to be able to move on, particularly for the families and close associates.
And the transparency bit is where the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Ocansey Ablakwa, says that's one of the reasons why, for instance, the United States was also contacted, and they have willingly helped with some experts who are coming in to aid with the investigation. Let's hear Samuel Ocansey Ablakwa specifically what he's saying and how that could also contribute to this transparency process and then the building of the trust. Take a look.
I can confirm to you that on the instruction of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, we have formally requested the Americans to come in and assist. We all know that they have considerable expertise when it comes to these matters. And so the indication we have received from the Americans is that they are very much willing to assist. We think that it is important to bring in independent experts to ensure that the outcome of the investigations will be acceptable to all, so that there will also be confidence in the process. Nobody has anything to hide, and it is important that this process is done in a very thorough manner, in a manner that will be at par with best practice, the international gold standard. That is what President Mahama wants us to achieve. So I can assure you that our note verbal has long been issued. The Americans have responded, and we are expecting the arrival of American experts soon to help us with the investigations. You do know that I am a member of the Armed Forces Council and the National Security Council. And so I can confirm to you that the Chinese have already been contacted and the manufacturers are standing by. Indeed, the briefing we have received from the CDS is that there is a standing protocol where the black box must be, as it were, made available to the manufacturer, in this case, the manufacturers of the Z9 helicopter. And so they are standing by. But in the president's wisdom,
the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Ocansey Ablakwa there. So talking about the quest for transparency and then also ensuring that the closure that you talk about, all other parties who can help have been contacted to be able to bring closure to the entire process of the investigation as well. It just complements the point that you're making. But Ken, maybe in a couple of minutes, to what extent, can disclosures be made about this to the public? Because there are some things that will certainly remain security sensitive information that borders on national security, and so we may never get to know. Is it not?
Well, I think so, but this security thing, sometimes I think we take it a bit too far. This was not a classified secret flight conveying materials whose presence, location must not be known. This was open. The passengers, i.e. the 5 of them, informed their families. We heard them at the funeral. Oh, we are going, Yekwaba. So the moment you tell anybody that Yekwaba, we are going to come, literally, there is nothing secret about it.
Right.
You say it. But the reason why Ghana is inviting the United States for the purposes of transparency is also because China, for marketing purposes, did not use only Chinese-made instruments. It fitted the Z9 with some Western avionics. Avionics simply means the instruments. I don't know precisely which instruments. So if there are American instruments as part of the Z9, then like sending the flight data recorder to China, America could also be invited to come and look at those components that, with its permission, China fitted on the aircraft. So I don't see anything wrong, but you know, in social media spaces, things get completely translated otherwise. What I heard was that Ghana doesn't trust China. You see what I mean? I mean, in social media, that's how they are interpreting it. But that's not the case. Ghana is saying that, yes, China, you made it. We'll bring the flight data recorder to you. Or if you like, you bring your experts here, whatever it is. But we are aware that there are also US Western-made technologies. So we are inviting the US to also come and look at those instruments that, with this permission, you fitted on your aircraft. We must nuance the debate in that way, rather than somebody, for whatever reason, suggesting that, you know. So transparency-wise, Alfred, one reason why there has been so much rumor-mongering and conspiracy theorizing is because in this country, as part of our culture, we do not inform the public. Not at all. In fact, I was surprised that the CDS chose to say the things that he said. I know that in the next couple of days, they will come back and probably add more detail because it looks like the pressure is too much, you know. But otherwise, as a people, we must learn from the West. In the West at Kumasi, we would have seen the regional minister flanked by the general officer commanding, central command, the fire service chief, the police chief, all of them in that. Regional minister will make a statement. So may I now invite, fire service chief to, because fire service chief or fire service was there.
Indeed.
Now that is how we must be playing our democracy. This idea of, kusum, nothing comes out. It's not very healthy. That's where the mistrust is. Why are we concealing the facts? Tell us immediately, we knew, Ghana Forces told us in the press release, the actual time of departure, 0912. It's a fact. Don't concoct it in any way. So bring out those other facts that are in the public domain, has nothing to do with security. After all, what is security? The knowledge of the people to have confidence in their government is also part of national security and national stability.
Absolutely. What has happened is directly linked to this, a direct nexus between this matter and the galamsey. This week we saw the IGP Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force. They came under attack at Bonteso in the Ashanti region after they seized an excavator from an illegal mining site near Manson Kwanta. Let's take a look at this video. This is what the police itself made available to the public. This is it. So this, Professor Jampo, is the IGP Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force that came under attack from some residents in the Bonteso area in the Ashanti region after they went there to seize an excavator upon some intelligence that they had gathered.
Thank you.
They had to fire warning shots to disperse that crowd that was massing up to attack them there in this area. This is the Galamsey side. Prof.
Yes, I am surprised, but at least we are seeing some of these things being done as a result also of some actions that are being taken by the government. Okay? We are seeing the resistance also as a result of the actions that are being taken by the government. I've always argued that since President Mahama was elected to power the second time, I've observed so many interventions that have been put in place to confront, illegal mining. But the problem still persists. And so, unfortunately for us, now we have the environment and the mood of the nation that is against illegal mining. Previously, when you spoke about fighting illegal mining, some people openly came out to say that illegal mining doesn't kill. Illegal mining has no health implication for people. People were offering some needless partisan defense for it. But now, thankfully, we are all together. Across the political divide, everybody is saying that illegal mining must be confronted. And so I would say that beyond what is being done, I think more drastic interventions would be required. President Mahama, he had his own nephew murdered because of illegal mining. His own nephew, Major Maxwell Mahama, he was murdered because of illegal mining. Now he has his key appointees, his confidants, his aide. If you know the relationship between Omanibu Ama and President Mahama, you would appreciate what I mean by his key appointees and his confidants. And you have other top servants of the state, 8 of them, all being sacrificed and murdered, all being killed because of illegal mining. I think that the mood, if there is any day, any time for us to all say enough is enough, it is now onwards. That if all these human beings have been sacrificed, if all these human beings have died, then we would need to step up the fight against illegal mining and to win it. And I believe that given the fate that President Mahama has suffered in the hands of this illegal mining, he will do beyond what is being done to confront the issue. Because it is either we destroy Galamsey or it destroys us. True. I mean, Kofi Bento was just telling me that it was illegal Galamsey that led to the destruction, the collapse of Liberia and Sierra Leone. Yeah. So it is either we fight it or we pamper them and allow them to be militant. Tomorrow they get to town with their arms to confront and kill all of us.
Now, you see, what we're saying now, it tells you a certain trend.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So it's either we match up to them. And so, please, we know that people are armed. We know that some people feel that it is a no-go area for them. But like at one point in time, Justice Atiguba said when he was sentencing somebody, he said, now let your force be matched with the force of the states. He was telling the late, is it Sir John? Let your force that you think you are too powerful. So if they think they are too powerful, let us allow their powers and their forces to be matched with the force of the state. And let's see who wins. So the point, it appears that even though we are fighting it, I think we've not been angry enough. And I'm saying that we would disappoint those who have lost their lives. They'll be turning in their graves if we don't do much more in ensuring that we overcome this. And I believe that this should be part of the legacies of President Mahama, that it will be said that by the time he exited, the state had its firm grip over illegal mining, and we had tamed it. Look, I was giving an example that a couple of months ago, I was in Geneva for a conference. I checked into my hotel, and then they brought me disposable cups. And I was wondering, what do I need disposable cups for? The following morning, when they came to clean my room, they brought another set of disposable cups. I said, what do I need it for? They said, use it to drink water. I said, but where is the water? I said, the one from the tap. I said, are you kidding me? I should drink water from the tap? I said, yes. I said, but where are the bottled water? The bottled water is not clean. That's what he was telling me. He said, the tap water is cleaner than the one in the bottled water. And so here we don't sell bottled water. We ask you to drink from the tap water. Dear Ghanaians, when was the last time you drank from your tap water? The tap water that is supposed to be clean. People go to their washroom and then in brushing their teeth, they go with sachet water. So even the tap water that is supposed to be clean, you cannot drink in Ghana. How about the colored water? And so the earlier we do something about this, the better, because the time is now. Now, like I said, thankfully, there is a certain consensus across the political divide that we cannot allow this to go on. And so let the force of the state be unleashed. And let nobody come here and say, suddenly people who are saying we should fight galamsey, when the forces of the state begin to be unleashed, then you would have other talkers, people who earn a living just by talking, coming in to say that, oh, you are violating human rights. But are they not violating our rights? That people are now having cancers. People are born with limbs, without limbs. People are having kidney and liver diseases. Are these also not an affront to our rights? And so please, when the real battle starts and the forces of the state begin to be properly unleashed, let there be no one coming up here to say that, but you are violating. Kofi, don't say that, you're a lawyer. No, nobody should come.
See, Prof,
I'm anticipating. I'm anticipating we discussing and people saying.
Why do you provoke Kofi?
No, I'm anticipating we discussing people saying that. But why were they beating them? Why were they?
Let me help you. Okay. Let me help you. See, I agree with you. Nobody, however, is fighting galamsey earnestly in this country. Not the previous government, not this government. We've said it, I'm saying it again. This thing that you saw, look, we are pretending to be fighting galamsey. We are doing sprinkling token actions here and there. And joking around the issue as if we don't know what is going on. There are police people in these mining areas who are bought and paid for. There are DCEs who are supposed to be supervisors of those districts who are mining. There are reports that the military, when they are sent there, they go and they are part of the system. And take just what we just saw, all right? Let me, again, I'm a small city boy. I sit down, I just analyze. Listen, we have people running around in this country and calling themselves national security. And we are making a terrible mess of that thing because we are allowing everybody without ID to go around and call national security. I have had cases where people went into places and routed them and ran people out and called themselves national security. By the time we went through, they were not national security people. But back to my point. And you have a situation where what we just saw, armed policemen go into an enclave to seize an excavator or excavators. And you did not have enough intelligence about the mood of the people in the land, in that space that they were entering, to the extent that those people attack the armed police people. My point is this. If we were doing our national security properly, and we knew that, indeed, one of the major national security problems we have is galamsey, and indeed, I am told that there are national security operatives in all galamsey areas, then we should have anticipated by intelligence that something like this could have happened. And then you will send a proper force, a serious force, that cannot, be attacked. These guys are shooting, and ordinary, townsfolk without arms are, coming at them. My point is, we are pretending to be fighting galamsey. Because if we really want to fight galamsey, we will be dealing with it in a more, a mix of intelligence and serious force. And Mr. Bombandi, I was making a point which Prof just made, and you were agreeing with me that, look, in Liberia and Sierra Leone, when Charles Taylor and Co. got up, and they started fighting from the north, the people they recruited were galamsey people mining diamonds in the bush. And they were arming themselves, and after a while, they got to the point where they were stronger than the army. They were the ones that Charles Taylor used to run through. And when he was done with Liberia, he started recruiting them from Sierra Leone. And when they had done what they wanted to do there, they just proceeded to mess up Sierra Leone. From Liberia, they just proceeded to mess up Sierra Leone. My point is, we are looking for the past 2 decades, 20 years more or less. We've been stirring this thing and playing fiddles with it.
Right.
All right? Which is why I'm saying we are pretending to be fighting galamsey. Who does not know that politicians in this country are benefiting from galamsey? Who does not know that DCs are involved in galamsey? Who does not know that the security services are complicit? At the highest levels, when we catch people who are doing galamsey, we just say we'll deport them. And the policy of this government or so has been articulated to the extent that when we catch them, we won't prosecute them, we'll just send them away. And we know that when we send them away, they just come back through the land borders and continue to do their galamsey. All right? So see, look, it worries me, but I don't see anything that makes me believe we will solve galamsey. If we have serious national intelligence or what they call national security, they should be swarming in those areas, identifying the kingpins and making sure we are dealing with them decisively. I don't think we are doing so. So I hope the best for this country, but the indications are not clear that will succeed.
So I'll keep on. I'm going to have to take a quick break. But when we come back, this is an issue we're still having on the table. Engineer Dr. Ken Ashibe is going to be joining us for a bit as well with his thoughts on this. But a number of your messages coming through here on Key Point. And this one here says, Andy from Tema says, good morning. Contrary to Mr. Kofi Bento's assertion, and as can be seen from the video shown, it may be inaccurate to suggest that the community members took such parts away at the, or you say in the presence of the security personnel. There are actually other videos you see that some personnel in uniform there. So, Andy, that's just to put the matters in context. The community members cannot be ruled out of the search. Mind you, this is a terrain well known to the people than the military. Hence, they need the support of the community. I think that was really quite clearly articulated by Colonel Festus Abuaji, retired. This one here from the Akwesi Esiedu says, good morning. My deepest condolences go to the bereaved family who lost their families, who lost their breadwinners in this tragic helicopter crash on the Black Wednesday. Those issuing threats against the president on social media should be brought to book. You say freedom of speech does not mean the abuse of words, and liberty is not silence, it's not a license to indiscipline, you say. Thank you very much for your message. And Dr. Richard Tiam says, good morning. Our military has some of the best expertise and has built capacities and capabilities over the years. What is also important is that as a nation, we must strive to equip our military with the necessary and relevant equipment, and that would also improve the outcomes of their functions, you say. Nana Kwame Asen says, good morning. I agree with Kofi Bento about this policy aspect of the conversation. We cannot in any way say that the military in itself is all-rounded and, put in quotes, inverted commas, competent. There are questions as well that they must also be available to answer about what has happened. And I'm glad that the Chief of Defense Staff has a sense of awareness that some things happened that were not part of the culture of the military. That is a sign of the acknowledgement of what could have gone wrong. You say, thank you very much for your message this morning. So live here on Key Point on TV3. We're back shortly after this quick break. And as always, I'm clothed this morning by Cobra Clothing. It's the best version of you. You can locate them on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building, Ghana's Made store. Call them on this number, 0244 238 341. 0244-238-341 for this outfit and many others. You see me well on Saturdays. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom,
reporting from Sunyani,
from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back to Keep On TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the city of London, and then also the Voice of London Television as well. And the video you just saw there is what we played earlier. The IGP Special Task Force against galamsey that came under attack earlier in the week at Bonteso in the Ashanti region. A number of your messages have come in regarding some of the issues that we've spoken about in the past. It says, good morning. This is from Dr. Musa Ali Kone. It says, good morning. The panel this morning, followed up from last week, have set a very important tone of how the media should discuss this. Kudos to you and the team. Thank you very much. And we've been really careful in ensuring that there's a certain well-coordinated conversation about this disaster. So thank you. Thank you very much. This one here says, Professor Ejekum is a man skilled at his craft and is a true professional. It says, hearing him speak this morning gives us perspective as well. This one here says, there have been several videos on social media and talks by one of the DCEs in Obuasi who said, Mr. Abuaje called, I think that's what Ken Officer Abuaje referenced earlier. Amos James says, I love the panel this morning. You are asking for phone numbers. It cannot be given to you like that. Thank you. This one here says, Prince Henry Koforidia, good morning. Naturally, death is very painful, but these types are very heartbreaking and devastating. May it never happen again to us. I agree with Kofi Bentel that as we are moving on to governance, we must not forget the lessons that this should teach us. He is certainly not a prophet of doom when he says this will happen again, because this is not the first time this has happened. The fact that there's been previous instances should just tell us all that this will certainly happen. We just need to prepare adequately to minimize the casualties, you see. I thank you very much for your message this morning. The concern is how these illegal miners are being emboldened, because this is not the first time we've seen them confront task forces. In fact, not too long ago, about 2 months ago, Dr. Hanabisu and another group of task force officials were held hostage in a community that they had gone there to clamp down on illegal mining. What is emboldening them?
So first of all the optics in terms of the pictures and the videos we are seeing are at the operational level of tackling this monster that it has become, galamsey. So the way I look at it is, let me use a very quick and simple metaphor. We are trying to decapitate the monster from the head, but the monster has sunk so deep with its roots embedded deep down the earth. Even if you decapitate it at the operational level, the roots would find a way to spring up. It's like a tree. You cut off the stem and the leaves behind your backyard, but you left the root intact. Depending on your water systems and your environment, it is going to spring up. That is why in the conversation that we are having, yes, we must be relentless at the operational level, in fighting this menace. But having said that, we must approach it much more comprehensively. And what I mean by a comprehensive approach is to be very dispassionate, to acknowledge the real problem where it hurts most, and to accept that if we begin to fight it from that level, the operational level too will succeed. Now, whether we like it or not, and I stand here to be corrected, the galamsey menace became hydra-headed, much more difficult to deal with because there was a political connection with those who finance it and those who own it and those who import the excavators and make it possible for illegal mining to happen. This is true. And the more you are politically connected, the more you are able to mobilize people because they see you as untouchable. And because you are untouchable, they can depend on you to do things. And so when we talk about how we confront galamsey, and we are confronting it only at the operational level by sending the military, by sending the police, but we are not tackling it from, Kofi mentioned, he used the word kingpins. Who owns the financing of these young men who are in the jungles and in the forest and doing galamsey? So that's where we need to begin from. And we need to do that by disconnecting it. Now, maybe I stand for correction. They might not be all politically connected, but they are people with influence and resources and have the wealth to be able to finance this illegality. An excavator is not a cheap machine. And to transport it into the jungle and to set it up and to get the technical expertise to make it operational. These are not things that can just happen as if to say we never knew that they were happening, but now that we have seen it, let us send the police to go and apprehend them. So that for me is one level. Then the connection from the political is also how the money that is then acquired from illegal gold is distorting even the functioning of the state. It is distorting our local governance systems and structures. It is compromising people who are given official roles to play, and because they are far away in their districts, they can themselves be compromised to support galamsey activities. The amount of money in itself is making it possible for wrong people to get into elected positions, and so that money now contributes in different ways to undermine the state. I would even go further to talk about how, because of the enormous amount of money that comes in, it increases an incredible level of ego that makes people feel untouchable. And this is then when you begin to see that at the point that they estimate their power to be beyond what they think they have, the threat now could exceed to national security, and God forbid, but if you look at the spread of violent extremism and terrorism in our neighboring countries in the Sahel, the routes that these terrorists took, it is not by coincidence that they also went through mining, illegal mining resources, because that is where they were able to have access to the money to recruit more people, and the more they are able to recruit, the more they are able to confront the state. And so my proposition is, whereas the operational level is important, and even at the operational level, the experts need to redraw their strategy. For example,
hold on to that bit for me. And Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe is joining us on Zoom. He has to leave us quickly. But just there's a point that, Engineer, it's been burning on your mind that about this particular development in Bonteso within the week, and what that signals in terms of the response mechanism with the fight against illegal mining. With the growing impudence and that we've seen on the part of these illegal miners, what should be the renewed approach after this tragic incident that has befallen us? Hello, Engineer, can you hear us? Hello? Well, Unfortunately, we lost him.
Yeah.
We lost him. Please.
Yes.
If you
So
could conclude on the point.
Yeah, to quickly wrap up, and then the others would come in. So I was at the point of distinguishing what is operational from what is more comprehensive as an approach. At the comprehensive level, are the policies that mitigate the menace itself, including what forms of legislation.
Yeah.
How do we prevent a conflict of interest? For example, if you are an executive of a political party, are there laws that say you cannot be involved in any form of mining because there is a thin line between what is legal and what is illegal when it comes to mining? And because of the conflict of interest, you could be using your position to finance illegality. If we do not want politicians to own property, that is the state, by buying it off the state, why should we allow the same politician to have access to mining? Because the conflict of interest in itself is undermining galamsey. And I was going to learn on the operational side that even listening to my colleagues here, if you have a police commander in a district for a very long time, under the circumstances of galamsey, it doesn't matter how that police officer is, you should be prepared that that police officer is going to be compromised. So even at the operational level, you want to recycle and recycle very frequently and be more robust and be more frontal and be more forward-looking in terms of sustaining the fight and not just having people there because they are fighting galamsey.
I want to say something quickly for engineer to also comment on it. I think we should see some new approaches because the old stuff is not working. Number one, ban all excavators. Why? An excavator, particularly, is for very limited use, digging. A payloader can do a number of things. So, for a piece of equipment which is very expensive, very difficult to transport, and which has set limited use, which is particularly suited for galamsey, we should ban it because it is not the kind of thing that everybody needs.
We have thousands of them at their ports.
Anybody who is importing an excavator should go and seek a proper import license so he will be vetted as to what it's going to be used for. Number two, galamsey requires a corrupt organization. It's not the boys over there. There's a whole organization that does it. In the US, when they had problems like this, they passed what they call the RICO laws. Something about corrupt organizations, racketeering. Basically, what RICO laws do is that when they catch a small boy, they track all the way to the kingpins. We should pass a RICO law specific to galamsey. What I'm saying simply, and that's why I want engineer to comment, is that the old methods haven't worked. We need some new ideas.
And talk about the new ideas. Engineer Dr. Ganesh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Now, because of the impunity we're seeing growing in amongst these illegal miners, attacking task force personnel who have been set up to clamp down on their activities, the renewed approach to illegal mining after this tragic incident, what should we be seeing?
Well, Alfred, thank you very much. But I think that the person who spoke before me,
That's
I think
Kofi Bento, yes.
Okay, yeah. About talking about not just the operational level, but at the root cause. So we definitely need to determine. So we need to do a determination of the root cause. And and again, he put it very succinctly. Galamsey is the firefighters are the arsonists. The politically exposed persons, people with a lot more influence. The president himself agreed with Kofi Bento last year in October when he said it was the kingpins. And that's the reason why in this particular instance, when you have a DC who comes out and tells you, Alfred, that he has initiated an investigation, but goes on to clear the people who are involved in a clear illegality, not only mining, but attacking a state institution. And this is our district and security, chairperson. Yeah. It just tells you the fact that, these people, the organized crime involved in galamsey, have brought the height of power, or they themselves are now in power. There was a situation in the past, in the primaries leading to this election, where people who were MPP people could cross carpet and come to NDC and use the power of that illicit wealth to be able, to be able to buy power. And so not only are they now sponsoring people, they themselves are getting into places of power. And between the NDC and the MPP, there's a lot of illicit galamsey money in there. So I completely agree with your panelists that says that the same way that when 9/11 happened, we had the AML laws now coming in and not just looking at money laundering, but money laundering that was, going into in and out of terrorism. So for us, we need to have a money laundering law that is also focused just on galamsey, because that is what is happening to it. So this particular DCE, for example, immediately the president should be firing him for incompetence, because even you agree that this DCE says that they were stand winning, stand winning without a permit. Ask them whether they have an EPA permit and all the permits, and then he goes on to clear them and does not see that a police officer had been attacked. That person should, after you've dismissed him, we should immediately get some, investigations into it to find out complicity. This is where the FICs and co would have to come in and look into the monies that are coming to himself and people who are connected to him, from his wife to his children to people who are related to him, and track and trace where the money is flowing from. I just drove from Takwa to Obuasi, and if I look, a cursory count on the number of excavators that are on the side of the road, where there's a lot of, destruction to the land. All of those excavators, what roads is happening between Wasai, Kropong, Dunkwao to Obuasi? All those excavators, are going into destroying our environment. And those excavators are not owned by those people you see in the pits. There are rich people who are sitting in government, who are sitting in big corporate offices, and they are funding this. Which banks are giving resources, to do this procurement? So I agree completely, we need to go at the root of this and deal with it. So the question you want to ask, when the Attorney General asks that the NDC national organizer and the NDC third vice president should be investigated, what have we seen about it? What have we heard about it? When Akunta mining from 2022 is supposed to be dealt with, and up till now, the case has not gone to court. When you have the MP for our win still sitting, in Parliament, and I think it's leading some of even the committees of Parliament. We have a petition with the president that has been acknowledged, but nothing else has happened to it. When you have the NDC MP for Axim and Dunkwao, being complicit, and we're not seeing that investigation going on. So His Excellency needs to deal with this, including all those people in the Jubilee House who were mentioned in the Professor Frimpong Boateng's thing. If we don't deal with it at that root level, the operations would fail. So at this stage, in this particular situation again, the issue about the police, any police commander, any MCE, DCE, galamsey happening in your community, you should be dismissed for incompetence first. And then you should be investigated for complicity. Because as I drive on that Jamfuri Road, I'm asking myself, on the bridge on the Dunkwao, I said as I'm driving past, I could see people on the Chamfront on the water as we speak. So how is it that the DCE, the MCEs in those communities will tell us that they are not involved? How is it that the chiefs in those communities will tell us that they are not involved? So we need, if we really are going to win this war, it is not about the people who are in the pit. It's not about the people who are being arrested. It is the big and influential people. And gradually they are corrupting our systems. They are taking hold of the height of governance in this country. And very soon, we will become a failed state. So for me, it's important that His Excellency the President, after this thing has hit very close, and he tells us himself that his confidence is also there in this particular situation, the approach should change. And we have to go at the root cause of this. You need, yes, their roots are sunk and all of that. You need to take it, uproot it, complete. I think with the excavators, we're beginning to handle the new excavators that are coming in.
Right.
But all those excavators that are parked in the Anyamfuri area, we should be giving them up to close to a month for all of them to make sure that they are registered and then they can be tracked. If you don't do that, we should go and confiscate them. We have too much. We should now start exporting excavators from Ghana.
Right.
Because we have too many excavators for what, the large-scale miners don't use these small excavators, apart from construction. Most of our road contractors, they don't need that many excavators. So all of these excavators that have been brought in as weapons of mass destruction to destroy you and I, our future. So we've gotten to the point where we now need to say, what is the optimum number of excavators that we need here? And export the rest of them out. Who are the people who are bringing them in? Let's list all of them. So in the particular case, again, of that particular one, if you look at the press release that we came out, and then you have the DCE tell us that did you see them processing the ore? Anybody in a mining area will know that you don't necessarily have to process your ore at the place where you are mining it.
Thank you very much.
You could transport it to another place and go and do it. And this DCE does not know, or he thinks you are so stupid that he tells you that. This DCE, I'm surprised that at this stage, the Minister for Local Government is still letting him sit at post. Whilst they attack an institution of state. So that's why that informs the press release coming from the Ghana Chamber of Coalition, Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey.
Right.
We need to get to the bottom of it and signal to these people who have caused the death of 8 of our citizens in the light of duty that enough is enough.
Indeed. Engineer Kanashbe, thank you so much for this. And I'll give the last word to Ken Officer Abaje, retired. And Lawyer Mercy Jenny says, Galamsey is treason. Everyone involved must be treated as perpetuating such. Ken.
Well, normally when the general has spoken, he's not just doctor engineer, he's, General Kenneth Ashbe. What I'm going to say, I've said elsewhere before. And I'm using military ways of looking at things. This Galamsey has a center of gravity. That's an operation. It's, first of all, the financiers, political connections, funding, acquisition of equipment, technologies, and then, if you like, the full soldiers in the pits. My suggestion is to bring it immediately under control, which has been said.
Right.
Let's take the heavy technologies out. Caterpillars, chamfan. And immediately you see an impact. The waters will recover at least stability-wise, even if the chemicals are there. The aim, which is I call the main effort of the government or the state, must not be to go and arrest those full soldiers. Let us deploy resources, intelligence, political will, organize task forces from outside of areas and send them in to take out the heavy equipment.
Right.
If needs be, let us buy back some of the caterpillars that are, over and beyond what we need. And as Kofi is saying, let's re-export.
Thank you.
We buy them back because we couldn't stop them from bringing them in.
Perfect.
Buy them back, re-export. And then from there you control the number of caterpillars that come in. And not deport, jail all foreigners without exception.
Perfect.
Not Ghanaians in jail, foreigners out of the country.
Thank you very much, Ken Officer Sabaji. Now, you don't need to break the bank to give your family a fun and memorable summer vacation. Book our summer promo package now. This package is for one night and get the second night for free with dinner on arrival. You enjoy free breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the second day and breakfast on the last day before departure for only 2,300. This promo ends on the 30th of September 2025, and I'm talking about the package of Maha Beach Resort. Fun activities including tour of our beautiful facility with the electric golf cart, splash playground for kids, bicycle rides, and then also the quad bike rides, an exciting boat ride to Maha Village, and the jet ski as well, a banana boat and party bus ride, many, many, many more. Please call Maha Beach Resort on 0303 977 773. The mobile number you can call them on is 0540 124 114, 0540 124 114. Maha Beach Resort. Go and experience this package and share the experience with us. On behalf of the team, I want to say thank you so much for staying with us. And Ken Professor Sabwaje, retired, thank you for coming. Kofi Bento, thank you so much. Mr. Bento, thank you for coming. Also, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bombande, and then also Professor Ransford Jampo and Engineer Dr. Ken Ashibe. Professor Ejekum also joined us via Zoom. On behalf of the rest of the team, we appreciate you. I'm Alfred Ocansey. Have a great weekend.